everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Mostly Wrong Opinions. I am Tyrone. That gentleman right there is Devin. And what we're about to get into right now is our Kobe coin this week. What our Kobe coin is, for people that do not know, we pick two movies and we let fate decide. We flip for the movie on the Kobe coin here. All right. And this week's movies are A Cure for Wellness, starring Dane DeHaan. Okay. And that's going to be number 8. All right. The other movie is Midsummer, starring Florence Pugh.
Florence Pugh. Right. Directed by Ari. And directed by Ari Aster.
Right. That is going to be on number 24. All right. And these are like dramas, thrillers, horror movies, all the stuff to make you curl up in your bed. So let's flip forward right now. Ready?
Oh, yeah. It's a new one.
The movie that we are about to review today.
Not awkward at all. Totally smooth.
Is whatever one I said this one was. What was this?
That was A Cure for Wellness.
Yes, A Cure for Wellness, number 8. Sorry, people. I forget. A Cure for Wellness, that we're about to review right now.
Signs of concussion, depleted immune system. I would like to recommend a treatment. Think of it as a cleansing of the mind as much as the body. Some patients experience visions.
This movie came out in 2016, and I went to the theater to see this movie because it intrigued me so much. Mainly because I knew that Dane was a great actor to me. Because out of all of Spider-Man 2, he was the best part to me.
Wow, you talk about Spider-Man 2. That movie's terrible.
Exactly.
I guess he was the best part. There was no good parts of that film at all. I didn't like it. I don't think I liked a single frame of that film. But he was good in other movies like Chronicle and stuff like that.
Chronicle, yes.
Yeah.
Creepy, but yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm,
yes.
Mm-hmm.
So this picks up where he is a is it like a stockbroker for a company? And
yeah, like a hedge fund manager type dude.
Yeah, and he did some dumb shit. He tried to get over the curve. And
right. They called it real amateur.
Yeah, he got caught. And I would say for his punishment, he has to they're trying to sign this deal, and he has
a merger.
A merger, yeah, and he has to go. They have to go get the signature from one of the main CEOs of the company.
Right. They needed the CEO guy to come back to New York to sign these papers so they could approve their merger. And the CEO guy was like, I ain't never coming back. I've gone to Switzerland. I found the cure. I am happy. I ain't coming back. You can't get me back. So Dane's got to go dig this guy up. And if he's got to go bop him over the head and drag him back by the hair, that's what he's got to do.
That's exactly what he said. And that's used against him later. But,
yeah.
But it was an underlying story in this when it comes to him. He doesn't have a father. Because you notice later in the movie that something happened to his father. His father was involved with this place that he's about to go to, and his mother is old. She's in a retirement home, and she makes these ballerina figurettes, and this one figurette, it has her eyes closed, and when he goes and visits her, he asks her why is her eyes closed, and then she says, because she's dreaming and she doesn't know it. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I'm gonna get a promotion. I'm gonna get you out of here. And she's like, you're not gonna come back. You're not gonna come back,
Right.
and it just makes him, lonely. And you can see there's a sense that he thinks that his only purpose is to get ahead in life in this business world. That's it,
Right.
And
that's why he was so eager to cheat early. Well, I guess before the film started, like he was eager to cheat, and he did, and he got caught. So yeah, now he's got to go to Switzerland to pick up this CFO guy
as his punishment.
But right, but there's a reason why. There's some funny stuff going on at this like health facility, aka or slash sanatorium that the CFO guy is at, and yeah, he's like stumbled into like this huge conspiracy.
Yeah, this is like this huge 300 year old conspiracy.
Right.
Because when he arrives there in a regular car, this guy is driving up. He's doing a lot of the exposition for the film, talking about what's going on. Why are these people here? There's basically like this baron that owned this land, and this baron was a freak. He was crazy. He was crazy because back in the day, he felt like he wanted to keep his bloodline pure, and the only way to do that is to go to Alabama and have sex with your sister. So,
right. Yeah, but exactly that minus the Alabama thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The only person that was worthy to carry on his bloodline was his bloodline. So he wanted to, go smash his sister.
The town folk, they wasn't having that, and they.
Oh, actually, I feel like the town folk didn't really care. They were like, whatever, cool.
They said,
but the problem was that his sister was barren. She couldn't have a kid. So he was looking for a cure, and he found a cure, but the townsfolk didn't like the cure because the cure involved drugging and killing the townsfolk.
Yeah.
So they burned the house down. We learn all that later, but they burned the castle down, and with the baron and the baby in it and all that good stuff.
Yeah. So we thought with the baby,
Yeah. So we thought. Because the baby was thrown into the aquafire, and we learned that the aquafire is where the cure is.
Exactly. All the cure and the eels in there.
Yep, the eels. Yep.
So before we go on, people, if you have a distaste for weird, awkward, uncomfortable movies, then this movie is not going to be for you. Okay.
Yeah, this is a really strange movie. This is really, but it, like you said before, it's got lots of like incest in it and like stuff about like pure bloodlines. And I guess it helps with the pure bloodline thing since apparently they shot it in Germany, and there's a lot of like I feel like there's a lot of like Nazi imagery going on. So it's like all right, that kind of makes sense. I think it's supposed to be Switzerland, but apparently they actually shot it in Germany.
Lockhart, which is Dan DeHaan's character, he arrives there and he's just like, I'm looking for Mr. What was his name?
Pembroke.
I'm looking for Mr. Pembroke, and every worker in here is like a zombie. Okay.
Right.
Every worker.
They're also young, and they're also like conventionally attractive.
Exactly.
Yeah, very creepy.
I cringe at that because there's a scene. There's a scene in here that's so ridiculous. About 2/3 within the movie, close to 2/3 of the movie, and when Dan was in the tank, and he was having the hallucinations of what he thought was hallucinations of the eels coming around him and swarming him inside of the tank while he was submerged. And there was a guard there that was supposed to be doing his job and paying attention, but a awkward, skinny-looking woman that looks like she belongs in the Nun movie comes in, and she's like, takes off her stuff, and
then the guard pulls out his eel, and he's like doing his thing.
Exactly. He's like, electrify.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's doing his thing, weird. And while Lockhart is like drowning. Now here's the thing: the reason Lockhart is there. Let's go back to the beginning. He's looking for Mr. Pembroke, right? And they say that he's not there, and and they say that he's there, but he's busy, and he talks to the I guess the council or whatever, and he and that's where he comes in, where he says that, look, I come up here to get Mr. Pembroke, even if I have to hit him over his head and drag him out by the hair.
I think what you're getting at is the staff keep giving him the runaround, right? He's always either in a treatment, or visiting hours are over, or oh, you just missed him, or he's over here, he's over there. For whatever reason, he cannot get Mr. Pembroke.
May I help you?
I'm here to see a guest, Mr. Roland Pembroke.
I'm sorry, but visiting hours are over for the day.
Because this should be simple. His task was to pick up Mr. Pembroke and bring him back that day. Like, he had 24 hours to do this job.
Exactly.
So it was supposed to be quick, in and out. And he even was like, look, you can come back to this stupid, insane asylum or wherever. Just, I need you to leave for like a day, sign these papers, and come on back. You can come back. But for whatever reason, he just cannot get this guy.
Good. So he gets back into the car with the gentleman telling the story.
Well, before he does that, he meets he sees that little girl, and that girl is like, she's like, yeah, no one ever leaves because no one ever wants to.
No one ever leaves.
And he's like, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And then he gets in the car.
Did the Obama? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, he did.
So
then he ran for office.
No. He gets in the car. He goes down this windy road, and freaking big old buck comes out of nowhere.
Pretty girl.
And smashes the car. Okay, and they flip like 50 million times, and he gets out of it. He wakes up in the hospital bed, back up at the retreat, and he has a huge cast on his leg. Huge cast.
Yep. And
the main guy, which is our villain in this story, played by Jason Isaacs, he is like the doctor, and he's like, you're not well, and make sure you're here as one of our patients to get better, right?
Right. He says he's got a broken leg, and he's got these other cuts and scars, and while he was unconscious, they arranged other tests, and it turns out his vitamin levels are low, and this, that, and the other, and they're like, oh, it's okay, you're in luck, because I happen to have the cure for all of that shit. All you gotta do is hang out here, and it's cool. You'll just be another patient. And Dane DeHaan's like, no, I'm not here to be your patient. I don't want to be your patient. I want Mr. Pembroke. Thanks for patching me up. Thanks. I don't give a fuck. I want to go. Mm-hmm. And the guy's always like, no, you can't.
Think of it as a vacation.
Right, yeah. And he's like, nope, I can't do that. Nope. But then the head doctor, he's like, okay, well, Mr. Pembroke he's very ill right now, so he can't show up for another 3 days. But after that 3 days, he's all yours. You can take him back to New York, and, you can go limp your ass back to New York. But he's like, okay, fine. But, of course, this is
lies.
All just another game. Yeah, lies on lies on lies.
And he drinks the water that's in there. And then he looks inside the glass of the water, and there's some little brown little speck that's in there, and the speck moves. Yeah, that's a little key there.
Even before that, in the head doctor's office, there's like a faucet, just like on the wall.
Right.
And the guy's like, here, drink some water. And he's like, I don't want your water. But I feel like every 10 minutes there are these scenes with like Dane DeHaan like drinking water. And so I feel like he drinks water in the weirdest way possible. He's like,
yeah.
I'm like, what the hell? It's really weird.
Dude, you a fish?
What's a fish?
While he's drinking this stuff, he looks outside the window, and the groundskeeper is plugging up this like vent area where this old castle used to be. Obviously, that's where the old castle used to be, because Dane DeHaan was nosy the first time he went there before he got the accident. He went over there and checked it out, and then they noticed him checking it out, and he's like, we're gonna cover this shit up, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So he's hurt. He's going through this place, and eventually he does get to see Pembroke down in the sauna room-ish type of setting,
Right.
and it's like this huge
Right.
maze. But here's the thing, people: he's been drinking this god dang water the whole time, and he starts hallucinating like he's trapped in within these walls.
Right. Yeah, he's getting lost in the sauna. He turns around in the wall in the hallway that he was just there is no longer there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a wall now, and he's like, "What the hell?" So he's getting disoriented and all this stuff. So at this point, I was trying to figure out the movie. I'm like, "What is this movie?" I said, okay. I thought to myself, this must be some kind of psychological thriller. He's hallucinating. Maybe he's actually a patient there already. And so
Shutter Island.
and he's already, yeah, exactly. Shutter Island was in the front of my mind, and he'd already said in order to get Mr. Pembroke, he already lied to the front desk and said that he was Mr. Pembroke. So I'm like, okay, so maybe he really is Mr. Pembroke, and he's just another patient at this insane asylum or whatever the heck. But then of course he turns the corner and there's Mr. Pembroke. He's actually another guy, and he's an old guy.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, so he's not. So the movie kind of threw me with that one because I thought I figured out the movie, but it was a little more slippery than I thought.
Yeah, and homie is like chilling. Homie's like, why would I ever want to leave? You know,
Right.
He's just like, it's perfect here. And then he asks us about, so how's the hedge fund going? And they're scrambling over there, and he's like, we need you just to come back just for a day. He dips under the water. I thought he was going to drown himself or something.
Me too. I thought it was too.
But he comes back up, and he still doesn't want to leave. You know, he actually starts to have a bond with the girl that's there, the weird girl that just looks young and stuff. So
Now I have problems with her because, yeah, the actress they cast looked very, very young, and they kept playing up her youthfulness, like she was holding like a little baby doll, and they said that she couldn't speak until she was like 11, and she was like they kept saying, oh, she looks like a woman, but she really isn't a woman or something. So I was like, what in the? But then the whole time, Dane DeHaan's like perving after her. So I'm like, is this a child? I was kind of confused, but I guess she wasn't a kid. She just behaved like one. She behaved like a toddler, and I found that disturbing.
it was disturbing. And don't
Now there's some disturbing things with her, but that wasn't one that was on purpose. I think that was, it just was weird.
it's weird, like the way that she portrayed the character. It was written that way. Now the
Yeah.
actress that plays her, she's like a little bit older than me, which is weird because she's like born in 1983 or something like that.
Oh yeah, well she looks really young. She looks incredibly youthful. She looks like she's like 13.
She found the youth or something.
Yeah, for real, she really did find it in real life.
But he takes her out of the castle to go down to the town, and just to see what's going on, because he was able to get a file from the office about Pembroke, and it shows that his teeth, and he has some medical records. It shows that his teeth is withering away, and he's like,
Right.
I have to find somebody that's not up here that can see about that. And he goes to some meat guy down there that works with animals and stuff, and
Right, because he's the closest thing to a doctor that does not work in the castle.
yeah,
Because he stole some medical records. And he wanted him to go check out. He wanted this fake doctor guy, go check out the medical records. Dane DeHaan couldn't read the medical records because they're written in German.
Yeah.
So he brings him to the meat guy, and the meat guy reads them, and he's like, his teeth are falling out, and he's got all the symptoms of dehydration.
yeah.
And Dane DeHaan is like, how is that possible? Because all these people do is stand around the sauna and dip in the water and drink water all the time. How can they possibly be dehydrated? And the meat guy's like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Here, I just read the file,
Exactly.
And he does this nasty thing where he slices open a cow and a calf falls out. And of course, that's all symbolic of what's actually going on in real life. Because back 200 years ago, the Baron he actually did impregnate his sister, and the townspeople tore out the baby and threw the baby in the aquifer.
Yeah.
And so the cow also had a broken leg, and Dane DeHaan at this point thinks he's got a broken leg.
Yeah.
So it's all
And
very
he
symbolic.
never had one. It doesn't seem like he had one.
No. To jump to the end here, yeah, he began to suspect that all of this was a lie. So he breaks a glass, cuts open his cast, and his leg is just fine.
Exactly.
And they hinted at that earlier because the little girl, or I guess she wasn't little, but she sure acted on whatever.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, did it hurt when you broke your leg? And he was like, I don't remember. And it's like, yeah, it didn't hurt because you didn't break that thing.
Exactly.
So ultimately, the whole movie is like a mystery.
Yeah.
It's like, why does Mr. Ben Pembroke want to stay? How come he doesn't want to come back to New York? And what is going on in this hospital? And we ultimately learn that the hospital is just a big front, a big filtration system for this, essentially this like fountain of youth. So the Baron found out that the water in the aquifer had this like amazing quality that kept his eels alive. The eels could live forever. So he's like, oh well, I want to drink some of this water. But it turns out the water is toxic for the humans. So the only way to get the water to be drinkable to humans is if you filter it through some other humans. You like essentially have to sacrifice people. So the Baron was like sacrificing the peasants of the town by forcing them to drink this water, which dehydrated them. And then he threw the bodies like in this like big pile somewhere, and the peasants found it, and they burned the whole castle down. And apparently they thought they burned the Baron and killed the baby, but apparently not. Apparently our main doctor is the Baron, mm-hmm. and the baby is the girl. Yeah.
Yeah. And by the end of the movie, there's a big showdown that's down in the cave in the catacombs, where the Baron is basically about to I'm just gonna go ahead and say it, rape her, and tied her to the bed and stuff when she found out who she was, because she didn't know who she was or anything.
Right.
Like that. And
she also had her first period just before that, and this apparently was a signal to the Baron that she's finally ready to have a kid. So, yep, he has a whole like marriage ceremony, and then he ties her to the bed, and super sick. And he like tries to rape her. I didn't like the scene at all because like the actress is like half naked throughout the entire scene, and I'm like, jeez, what the hell? I mean, at least it was the villain, I guess, that was doing it. But yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that.
Yeah, at all. And Dane DeHaan's character, he comes in the nick of time. Well, it wasn't really the nick of time because he already did a lot of horrible things already.
But yeah, he already like assaulted her and molested her, but I guess he didn't. Yeah, he did a lot of bad things already.
He did get there, and he was trying to fight him.
I guess
in
so,
a way.
yeah.
But the Baron, how he's been looking younger, he's been having these prosthetics on his face. He takes his prosthetic off, and it looks like some freaking horror movie stuff, which is why I believe my friend Devin can't. Is like, is this a horror movie? What is this thing?
Yeah. So we talked about it briefly a second ago, but like I felt like the tone of the film was like all over the place. Like it was, first I thought it was some kind of mystery, then it was a psychological thriller, and then it turned into this sci-fi thing with like health purifying water and like a scientist with like tubes and dead babies and bottles, and he's got a fake face, and it's like, what the fuck? It was weird. It was weird as hell. And I feel like it was just, to me, I feel like it was all over the place.
Now, I recommended this to be on the Kobe Coin, and it won. And because I seen it in the theaters, and I was really intrigued. And I only seen it that one time. After seeing this the second time, I think more so out of anything that I found a new appreciation for now, especially doing mostly wrong opinions with Devin here. I really appreciated the cinematography in this film, and the shots are great in this film.
Yeah, it's a very, very pretty film. It was shot like very artistically.
Yeah,
lots of reflections and cool lighting, and all kinds of interesting shots. The cinematographer was definitely beating off in a corner somewhere when he made this film.
Like the eel guy. So
yeah, exactly.
But
it was a cameo. You didn't know that?
It was a cameo. That was him. That was actually him doing it.
Yeah.
But I I'm gonna wrap it up here, guys. I'm gonna give this movie a 7 for the fact that Dane DeHaan did a good job acting in this movie. Because by the end of this movie, with the B line, the B subline about him, about what his worth was, in some way, those treatments actually did cure him, and he didn't have no satisfaction to be with this company or do bad things for this company to get up on ahead. Because by the end of the movie, the whole thing is burning down, and the Baron's dead because she hits him over the head, and they pedaling off. And they run into the actual people from the firm, and they like, you need to come with us, and he's like, I'm feeling actually pretty well. And he rides off, and he gets this creepy freaking hobgoblin, green goblin smile.
Yeah, he does. He does. I guess he learned there's more to life, than just making money at the hedge fund.
Yeah.
But so you give it a 7. I think I give it a 5. I thought it was a touch slow. I think most people would have tuned out long before any of this stuff is settled. So unless you're just like a really big fan of like cinematography or just Dane DeHaan himself, I don't know why. I don't know what would carry you through. Like, I thought the mystery wasn't intriguing enough at least for most people. It isn't that. Now for me, it was fine. I'm like, whatever. Some of the, again, like you said, the cinematography, it was cool, but this makes it really difficult for me to recommend it because
this is not a movie I recommend. This is a movie that you can watch one time if you're into this weird shit.
Yeah, it's very strange. It feels very like, this is a weird thing to say, but it feels very European. Like, I feel like even like someone like the attempts at humor kind of like go over my head a little bit. I'm like,
I didn't even see any attempts at humor in this thing.
I think there were some. I can't think of any right now, but I feel like the tone was strange. The attempts at humor like kind of went over my head. It kind of reminded me of Detroit 2030.
Yeah, 2030.
Yeah. The tone kind of reminded me of that, where I think those guys were like from Finland or something, and like I feel like a lot of the humor just kind of missed me. Like, I'm like, huh, what? So this whole movie kind of felt like that. So I give it a 5, and I have a difficult time recommending this one.
Well, you guys make up your own decision and make up your own opinion about if you do see this movie. I gave it a 7. Devin gave it a 5, and that is our review for 2016: A Cure for Wellness.
You're not a well man.
You're trying to make me think I'm insane.
What's happening to me? It's all part of the cure.
There is no cure!
Accept the diagnosis, and you will see. It's wonderful here.
Please, guys, just remember to subscribe to the page, hit the notification bell so you stay up to date with everything we do here on Mostly Wrong Opinions, because we're putting out a lot of stuff. You guys can go and see our Loki reactions, our Mostly Wrong Opinions rewinds, where we look at older older movies from the past. So check this stuff out, man. We got some stuff on there. Here.
Yeah.
Now to the movie that came to the movie that is on Amazon Prime, and I believe it deserves to be on Amazon Prime. The Tomorrow War, starring Chris Pratt.
We are fighting a war 30 years in the future.
It's a joke.
Our enemy is not human. We need you to fight.
You got drafted.
I will be back.
The director, Chris McKay's got like a lot of animation under his belt. Actually, it's like almost all animation. Yeah.
Okay. My problem with this film is Zach, the writer. Okay. Because there's a lot of plot holes in this where I'm like, well, you could have did this, and that could have been a different type of movie.
Like what?
Or the premise of the movie is where these soldiers come down from the future. They come down from 2055, where there's a bunch of aliens in there that's, messing everybody up, and the human race is only 500,000 people, and they come back here, which looked like it was filmed at Mercedes-Benz, because it definitely was.
Yeah, it was. This movie was definitely filmed in Atlanta.
Exactly. And they're saying that we need you, we're your grandchildren and your children from the future, to come and fight for us. I'm like, why are you sending more soldiers up there to fight and lose a war that you're already losing? Why don't you send yourselves back here to try to figure out how they got here and stuff like that, which comes at the end of this movie by his wife, not scientist, his wife.
Right.
You know?
But I guess they were, the excuse in the movie is that the people in the future were like super desperate, and they were just like, and they just happened to get this time travel thing working. Like they said, it was held together by chicken wire and duct tape.
Yeah.
So they just happened to get it working, and this was, I guess, the best idea they had in a short amount of time. Yeah. So again, we talked last week about what hanging the lantern is. Yeah, they hung the lantern in that, like, this movie was thought up. It took about 30 minutes for them to think it up. They didn't think very hard. So they were like, the soldiers didn't think very hard either. Okay, let's go.
No, they didn't think very hard at all. The comic relief in this film, Sam Richardson was a comic relief. I enjoyed him. At some parts he was annoying, but most of the time he was enjoyable.
Yeah, he was a little corny. Corny. So yeah, you mentioned earlier that you thought this movie should definitely come out on Amazon Prime, and yeah, I feel like some parts of the movie are clever. So the only two people that ever interacted were people who were either not born or would be dead, so they would avoid all paradoxes. So it's like, oh yeah, okay, that's kind of clever, Yeah. And so and there are some Terminator things going on too, with the time travel and the war, the future war, and all this stuff. So there's some clever things.
Yeah, there's some clever things. And the thing that I liked about it is like the design of the aliens. Really cool.
Yeah, I thought they wouldn't even show the aliens at all, but they actually did show the aliens quite a bit, and I thought the CGI looked pretty good. So my main problem with this film was Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt to me is.
Wait a minute. Dang.
I mean,
okay.
I don't know why people work. I don't know why that's even remotely controversial. Like, it's because he's popular, I guess, right? But he plays the same guy, right? He plays the same character in every movie. He's always the same wisecracking dude. Like, if you just changed out his costume for the Star-Lord costume, he'd be the same dude. So, like, he's done the same shtick over and over and over again. It's just like the only way you can differentiate which character he is by, the outfit. So it's like, okay, this time he's got on a vest, got it, Jurassic Park. This time he's got on a helmet, okay, got it, he's Guardians of the Galaxy. This time he's got a gun in his hand, he's shooting future aliens, okay, Tomorrow War. But ultimately, other than that, if you close...
You're right. I actually kind of see that, because in, the Magnificent Seven?
Same dude.
With, Denzel Washington.
Yeah, he has absolutely zero range. Or he's been typecast. Like, he to me is getting boring. I'm like, you got anything else? Got another gear? Something? Anything? No? Okay. So the Chris Prattiness of the whole thing to me wears thin. This has got to be the 19th Chris Pratt movie where I've seen Chris Pratt be Chris Pratt in a Chris Pratt movie, and I'm like over it. So I was glad when the black guy showed up and he had a different flavor of humor. I was glad when J.K. Simmons showed up, when he also has a different flavor of humor too, like that kind of dry, gruff thing. But unfortunately, we're stuck with Chris Pratt doing Chris Pratt stuff in a Chris Pratt film for 2.5 hours, and it to me is unfunny. And I'm like, all right, I get it. He's like an older Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf did that thing too, where he was just like the quirky, kind of like, I can't do it. Like the quirky white guy character, where
he was just jumping. He's like, I need to go here right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Yep.
Let's go.
Shia LaBeouf thankfully has shifted, but Chris Pratt has not.
Yeah.
Chris Pratt has not done that yet. He's still doing the quirky white guy thing, and it is just as boring today as it was 5 years ago, as it was 10 years ago. So, but anyway, to me that was the weakest part of the film. The plot of the film I thought was fine. I didn't mind the plot of the film. But ultimately, yeah. To talk about the plot of the film, just really briefly, like you said, Tyrone, there is a war in the future. Soldiers from the future come back in the middle of a soccer game, as if any Americans are watching that. But we're all going to pretend like we were watching the soccer game, and it's not a football game, whatever. So they all come back in the middle of the soccer game, and they're like, "Oh, we got to recruit you to come to the future to fight the future war that we're losing. If you don't, all of humanity is going to go extinct super soon." Chris Pratt, of course, gets drafted. Mostly because of his previous military experience, and at first he thinks, oh, maybe I should try to run, I should take my daughter and my wife and try to book, but then he's like, nope, I can't, I gotta man up, do this thing, because each person that gets drafted, they're only gone for 7 days, so he's like, look, I just gotta survive for 7 days, and then I can come back and be with my daughter and my wife and all this good stuff. But of course, there's a whole bigger thing that involves family, as you would say, and it turns out, his daughter.
Surprise!
Yeah, surprise! His daughter is a key member of the military moving forward, and she picked him in particular for a special reason. One, he fit the criteria in that he would be dead by 2050 something. Turns out he dies in a car crash. And two, there's something else that his daughter in the future wants him to do.
Yeah, which is take a serum that is made from the queen of these aliens, because they disperse it among the males, and it sees it kills the males in the hive, but it doesn't kill the queen. And they have to find out the right match with the queen to get that antidote, or the antidote, to kill everybody else and to kill the queen. And he needs to take it back to the past and have it mass produced and sent back to the future where they are, so they can kill everybody.
Right.
So that's the plan. Of course, the plan does not go the way it's supposed to.
Right. If it did, it'd be an even more boring movie.
She basically dies in the future in front of him in his arms and it seemed like the queen was seeking them out. The queen alien was like, where are they?
Yeah, there are a lot of weird coincidences in the movie, right? Like there's a scene where this is like the worst placement ever, but the room where they were trying to figure out the serum that would kill all the aliens was just like one sheet of glass away from the queen alien. And so the second they get it, they're like, we've got the serum. And then the queen alien's like, she wakes up and goes crazy. Yeah. I was like, oh, is she mad because they found the serum? No, just happened to be that. Just happened to be right at that time. And then
she wakes up. She's like, She's like, yo, they got my blood, son.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, pretty much what she does.
Son, come get these motherfuckers.
Yeah, and she like sends out some kind of scream or a noise or whatever the heck that attracts all the other, I guess, male aliens. I don't know. And they all come and attack at the same time. But yeah, the queen seems to be like seeking out the daughter. The daughter, by the way, the adult daughter is played by the same actress who was in A Handmaid's Tale. Ah, there it is. She was Serena, and she was a villain in A Handmaid's Tale. And that same actress was also, did you recognize her from Mass Effect? Mass Effect 2? She was like, I think her name was Miranda or something in Mass Effect 2. And they kept showing her butt a lot. Like, sure. Yeah, so she's got some video game roots. But yeah, same actress, and she's also a very good actress, and she was pretty good in this movie too.
Yeah, she was pretty good in this movie.
Yeah.
I also like the sound effects in this movie. Like the actual, like the guns, they sound beefy, dude.
Okay.
They sound beefy, and they got like awesome sparks in them. I'm like, yo, whoever did these visuals, man.
Yeah, the visuals were good. I agree. The visuals were good. But yeah, I guess what you're saying is like the movie was kind of generic-y, right? Like there were moments where, it was kind of funny, and there were some moments where it was like action-packed and blah, 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 blah. This is, to me, a great movie. Awesome. Just awesome movie for a rainy day and you're vacuuming that floor. baby.
Exactly.
If that floor is
I knew the
dirty,
vacuum was coming.
if
I
that
knew the
floor is
vacuum
dirty,
was
you
coming.
turn this movie on, you'll get so much. Your carpet will be so clean, it'd be amazing.
You're gonna look back at the movie and it's still, because it's a 2-hour long movie. You should be going back to.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
then-
It's a 2-hour.
Yeah.
It's a 2-hour movie, and I have a hard time remembering what happened because it wasn't that eventful. I know at one point they end up going to Russia, and there's some snow stuff, and J.K. Simmons. It's where J.K. Simmons really comes into play. Like at first, he was barely in the movie at all, but he was
just at the beginning as the granddad that, or his father that abandoned him and stuff. But he comes in now in the Russian scene to where they need to get to Russia because, like I said in the beginning of this thing, his wife basically found out when he comes back from the future saying that, so maybe if they said that the aliens did not land here, maybe they've already been here because they couldn't find a ship. They were looking in the future in 2048 and they could not find a ship. So it was like maybe they landed before 2048, and then Chris Pratt's face was like, "Hey, you're right."
Right.
I'm like, you didn't think of that like 3 acts before.
Yeah.
And so basically found out that the aliens were in Russia earlier, and they've already crashed here thousands of years ago.
Right, and they dug their way up. So again, this is another thing with the movie that was like a little boring, or not exploring, but cliche, in that that's the plot of War of the Worlds, where the aliens are already here and they
already underground.
Yeah, and they climb up. So I'm like, all right, so we've got War of the Worlds, we've got some Terminator stuff going on. There's that scene where they've got the alien tied up and they're doing experiments on the alien to find the serum. That's clearly Starship Troopers. So it's like they've got a lot. They've like taken every movie, much better movies, and they just like slammed them together to make this much more mediocre movie. So it's like, all right, got it. Anything unique happening in this movie? No? Okay, great. Although
is the imitation a form of flattery?
I suppose so, but I don't think anybody would be flattered by this film. But but I did like the way the aliens look. The aliens look kind of cool. They called them white spikes because they have these like tails or something that would shoot like spikes. Yeah. And they kept the way the aliens looked a mystery. I don't even think they're even in the trailer. Like they kept the way the aliens looked a mystery for a long time. So when I saw them, I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. So, and they had a vulnerable spot on their belly, but they kind of hunched over so that only they exposed their back instead of their belly. That kind of stuff was interesting.
Yeah, and these aliens, I could say, compared to A Quiet Place aliens. The Quiet Place aliens, I remember, if you guys know Tony Baker from, he's a great comedian. He was reviewing Quiet Place too, and he's like, man, it just seems like these aliens are the old man that don't like noise, and they just want to be like, hey, shut that noise off, man. It's just slapping everything. They don't even want to eat you. They just want quiet.
Right.
But with these aliens, they feed on humans.
Right. So again, that's like another thing with like aliens, a little bit of aliens, a little bit of what's that? Prometheus, where another alien actually crashed on Earth carrying the white spikes, and the white spikes might have been cargo or maybe even a weapon or something like that. So again, that's like a knockoff Prometheus a little bit. I don't know why you copy Prometheus, but it seems like this one did. So it's like, all right. Again, it's kind of slammed together a lot of movies.
This movie, with the exception of the sound effects, the visual effects, really, really well. With the acting of they portrayed his eldest, the daughter in the future, she was really, really well.
Yep.
And the brother that brought in the comedy, it wasn't too much else here. There was too much meat on the bones, and if there was meat on the bones, it was meat on the bones that you already seen in movies that done it better.
Yeah, this bone has been chewed on quite a bit.
Yeah. So I'm going to give this movie a 5 out of 10. So you guys, if you want to, you guys an Amazon account or borrow your homie's Amazon account and click it if you want to and do exactly what Devin says. Put vacuum and it's raining outside.
Yeah. I too will give this a 5. So I guess that's 2 5s in a row today. And yeah, I would recommend this movie if the other movies didn't exist. If War of the Worlds didn't exist, If Terminator didn't exist, if Alien didn't exist, if Starship Troopers didn't exist, then yeah, I'd say this movie's great. But unfortunately, all those other movies exist, and they're easily accessible now. So go watch any of those. Those are great. Even the 2004 War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise and all that stuff, better than this. So you're good to go. At least that one's directed by Steven Spielberg. I'd say go watch that. Don't bother with this. I mean, it's fine, I guess, but this will be forgotten. I feel like this movie will be forgotten in like a week. I've had the hardest time even remembering the title of the movie. So it's,
you know why it'll also be forgotten in a week, because Black Widow comes out. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they probably tried to sneak this one in. So yeah, in a week Black Widow will be here. Yeah, actually Black Widow will be out by the time this video comes out. So go watch that. Don't bother with Tomorrow War. Unless your floor is really dirty and you just have a really big day. You got a lot of cleaning, a lot of dishes. All right, go ahead and turn this thing on.
You don't want the Rumbus to do, or the Roombas, whatever it's called. You want to do old school, and just do your thing, because apparently in the future robots are gonna be killing you. So, you don't want the robot that is cleaning your floor to get up and be like, "Hey, I ain't doing your dirty work no more." So, and that is our review for the Tomorrow War, starring Chris Pratt again.
Yep.
Well, it's nice knowing you.
Thank you guys for clicking on the video. We really, really appreciate it. Please be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, stay up to date with everything that we do here on Mostly Wrong Opinions. Again, my name is Tyrone. You can find me at my band's Instagram. That is YURP_ATL. By the way, my band is releasing a music video. It should be out today. Go click that. Go click it. It's going to be in the link basically at the bottom. Click it. You take a look at that. And also, I do my Twitch gaming, twitch.tv/YURPNationGaming. I be on there doing my thing. And I post a lot over on my reaction channel. That is YURP Nation Reactions. All right, check that out. Please subscribe to that. And you can find me right here on Mostly Wrong Opinions, doing my thing. On my boy Devin.
Hey, my name is Devin. I have a personal Instagram at DevinHarris29. I have a website called Geek Sleep Repeat, where you can find some of my writing, me and Tyrone. We've got a TikTok. We can find us there sometimes. Mostly you can find me right here on Mostly Wrong Opinions.
That's right. And also, just remember, you come in and click on this video and you see it, give your opinion. And, if you like the video, leave a like. If you don't, you can leave, a dislike. Whatever it is your opinion. But just remember, it's mostly wrong. Have a good day or night or whatever time zone you're in. Bye.